Okay, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you some of the common problems you're going to see in your infielders. And then I'm going to try to give you some solutions that will help you take care of those problems. The first problem that you might have out of a young infielder or an infielder at the college level would be for them not to be getting a good jump and not be walking into their stance. If a young infielder gets cemented in the ground and in between pitches does not move his feet, and he does not change his eye focus, does not communicate with his other infielders, he's got a tendency to be one step less quick than he needs to be. So if our young infielders got into a situation where they didn't change their feet, then what we would try to do is try to show them that they might get caught in between rather than being completely prepared. And we would take the other infielder and we would tell him to walk into his stance and get yourself a great jump and move through the baseball. We would evaluate these kids and watch them and videotape them sometimes during batting practice to make sure that they're getting jumps off of each one. The second common problem you see is a kid who may not be creating an angle strong enough to help his arm toward first base. So what I'm going to do is show one of our infielders not taking a good angle. He's coming straight at the baseball and then having to create it afterwards. Then I'm going to show what we can do to try to make that happen. Now we're going to take a good angle to the ball. He gets a little closer to first base after he fields the baseball, shortens up the distance, and he helps himself be a little bit more accurate with his arm because he's got a better angle to first base. Another common problem is kids flipping the glove over, and this is a very bad problem when kids come to school for the first time. They're used to flipping the glove over. They go off and play in these summer leagues, and they're thinking about style rather than substance. So what we try to do is we're going to show you right now a kid who flips the glove over and how it can get him in trouble. He's wasting a little bit of time. He's put himself in a compromising position, whereas if the ball's hit really hard, he has to turn his glove around at the last minute. Now we're going to keep that palm open all the time, and we're going to tell the other infielder to keep his palm open right behind. Trip, keep your palm open, please, so that they're in the back of the bread lines. We're making them feel that this is very comfortable to them rather than this being comfortable. We want that to be comfortable so they don't have any problems in keeping the glove open to the baseball. That ball was hit a little bit crisper, and it took a little bit of a short hop, kind of slid it along the ground, and he kept his glove open, and it made it a lot easier instead of having to turn the glove around. The next common problem that we might have is a kid who comes up and down with his eyes. You can see how he started out low, and then he came back high with his eyes, and then back down again, and we're trying to judge, in this case, bouncing ball with bouncing eyes, and it's a very difficult thing. Now we're going to try to keep our eye level a little bit better, keep our focus on the baseball. His head was much stiller, and his eyes were much more level, and it makes you for a much more successful infielder. Another problem that we might have is not feeling the ball out in front, but more underneath your body. This comes from a kid not getting his butt down and his feet wide enough, and he feels the ball underneath the body, and it makes for less margin for error, and it makes for him not to have as good a balance as he needs to have, and it's not creating soft hands. Feel the ball underneath your body this time. Let the ball get underneath you. And you can see he's in a much better position with a much better margin for error. Feeling the ball further out in front, he can create softer hands, and he can see the ball into the glove much better than the kid who lets the ball travel underneath his feet. Another common problem would be to field the ball not off the glove hand eye, but off the right side of your body. Over traveling and fielding the ball off the right hip. And a lot of times the player will do that. His head wants to go toward his target, but he's fielding the ball off the right side of his body. It travels back behind him. He gets an in-between hop rather than the short hop or the down hop or the top of the hop. His head's going in this direction. He has a little bit more trouble in transition, and a lot of times an error is created because he's working from the glove to the throwing area with his head going in the opposite direction. You can see that he has to take a little bit of a false step after he fields that ground ball. You can see that his head is moving in this direction, but his glove is over this side of the body, and his shoulders are not squared up to the ball. If it takes a bad hop, he's in a lot of trouble. Okay, now we're going to feel it off the glove hand eye. Really exaggerate off the glove hand eye. That side of the body, you can see he's got great head position, looks the ball into the glove, and he's in great balance position when he feels the baseball. This is a common problem, is wasted steps on the way to the baseball. A lot of times I see kids come back over the summer or they come into your program and there's a lot of wasted steps. They'll step behind with the left foot. They got all kinds of style, but they forget that they've got to try to get the ball to first base under 4.2 seconds, or even sometimes faster than that. So they've got to get to the baseball without any false steps and any wasted steps. Okay? You can see how he took some false steps on the way to the baseball, and it's wasted time all the time. Kick back behind trip. And again, you can see that there's some false steps on the way to the ball. So what we would normally do in this situation is we would put a runner going down the line, or we'd take a stopwatch out. And when we take the stopwatch out, as soon as the ball comes off the fungo, we bang the stopwatch and we yell the times out to them. And if they take the false steps, it may be 4.7, 4.6, and we'd be yelling that across the infield. Pretty soon, the false steps start to disappear, and now it's 4.4, 4.3, 4.1, depending on how hard it comes off the fungo bat. But they are on the move all the time. They got a much better idea about taking less false steps, getting to the baseball, better angles, and getting rid of the ball. Okay? And we would yell the timeout, 4-4. And if we wanted to be a little bit quicker the next time around, come get the ball, quicker to the ball, 4-2. And they would be able to see the difference in what the style does for you. The style points don't mean anything. And the fundamentals in coming and get the baseball and creating a better angle is going to get the ball there quicker. And we can eliminate those false steps by bringing out the stopwatch. I want to talk about a couple of common problems that you get from your infielders on the slow roller. One of the common problems is not creating an angle so that they approach the ball, if they're coming straight at the baseball, instead of approaching it across and fielding it toward their target and throwing toward their target, they'll approach it more straight on. When they approach it straight on, they have a tendency to throw and peel off in this direction. And that is not a good thing, because the ball will die on them, tail on them down toward the first baseline, and create a tough play for your first baseman. So we want them to try to understand that when they do throw the ball in a situation where we're working on drills, we're going to try to field the ball slow roller, throw the ball to first base, and receive the ball back. So I'm going to just call this a continuous slow roller drill. Field it, throw, and receive it back. And then he'll receive the ball back as well. And it's a great drill and a great reminder to remind your infielders that they've got to go to their target, receive the ball back instead of peeling off.